Let me show you the way of the master. Let me show you the way of the master.
Now we curse from birth, immersed in the wickedness of the earth. Hating God, we are carnal, don't want him, it all it hurts.
What up? The album that we are reviewing today is New Name, Same Mission by the homie, Justin Martyr. Let's get into it. This album is a bit different from, I guess, the kind of albums that I would normally listen to and check out. Or not even that, but it's different than what my personal preference in a hip-hop album is. What do I mean by that? What I mean by that is this album has a wide array of different styles, right? It's very versatile from track to track on what the sound of the project is. Now, I am someone who enjoys, to an extent, when an album has, song to song, back to back to back. And I'm not saying I want the same beat on every song, but overall, I would like a similar soundscape, if you will, right? I prefer, I don't know if y'all have ever heard Swoop's Wake Up. I might do like a throwback review just to talk about that one. That's one of my favorite albums of all time in Christian hip hop. But despite different kinds of beats, he's got some boom bap stuff on there. He's got trap stuff on there. But all of it sort of carries and sounds like the same sound overall. Even as far as like samples and different things like that, it sounds the same. This album is not one of those albums. This is an album that you would make if you were trying to appeal to a wide audience. Like, yeah, man, I got something for everybody on here. Those albums are dope. This is one of those albums. It's a dope album that does a lot of those different things. I'm just letting y'all the mindset I had to come into to listen to an album like this. I knew this album was going to be this kind of way. That's not to say that I was not expecting good things. I'm letting y'all know because I think it helps. I want to help you guys listen to music better. And so I think it helps people to understand that when you listen to certain kinds of albums, you got to listen a certain way. Quick example. I'm not going to listen to N.N.S.M. and I'm not going to listen to Tekashi 6ix9ine the same way, right? They don't make the same kind of music. I guess technically it's thrown under both would be thrown under the umbrella of rap, but it's just different kinds of music. I'm not going to listen to Justin Martyr and expect just boom bap the whole thing, right? I'm not going to listen to Justin Martyr and expect just trap all day. Justin Martyr is an artist who does everything. So you need to come into an album like this with that kind of mindset, with that kind of ear. I'm going to hear a lot of different styles and sounds. And then you review it in light of that criteria, in light of that mindset. That's how you're going to review an album like this. Just had to put that there at the beginning. And now what do we say about this album? It is a dope album. Let's get into that. Had to hit y'all with that side note. But this is a dope album. I think there is truly he accomplished the goal of something for everybody. There's a lot of different sounds on here. The trap, the boom bap, some reggae stuff. There's a lot of different kinds of things on here. Even topics, right? There are songs where he's breaking down deep theology, addressing theological controversies and cults and false religions. He's calling the church to evangelize more. He's got a song that's specifically about playing basketball. Nothing super deeply theological than that. That's just so it's not even that it's broad in sounds, but it's also broad in topics. And I think he did that well, right? You got guys who try to do that. It's like, nah, we can tell what your strengths and weaknesses are. You should make more of those. He does all of these things well. And I think it's dope to have Christians who, again, if you know me and my style and my preference of music and my preference of making music, you know what I prefer to make and create. But I also think it's dope when an artist does the kinds of things that Justin did on this project, where, he's actually trying and doing other kinds of things, even topically. I think we do need Christians to just make good music to turn up to, right? I'd say I don't hate the strong word. I sort of hate the direction that like a Reach Records is going in, where it's like they almost never talk about their faith. It's always just like, it's just good art. That makes me crazy. That's me. This is not what Justin does. He's got a song, like I said, this is about playing basketball. We need Christians to make just good songs about things like that. That's dope. But then he also talks heavily about his faith and all these other things. He's got a song that's just about his wife. It's just a love song. That's dope. We need more Christians and people with a biblical worldview to make love songs. That's dope. I love that. We need more of that. But again, this project is giving you all of these things, all these different styles. So I enjoyed that a lot about this project. If you like that kind of music, you're really gonna enjoy this. Dope song at the beginning, Way of the Master. Starts it off with that. The song about evangelism. Listen, more Christians need to evangelize. It makes me crazy that we don't. This man is giving you practical tools on how to do so. He's talking about Way of the Master being Ray Comfort's, I believe it initially was a video series, but it's sort of the way he evangelizes. He uses the law of God, 10 commandments to show you your sin, preach the gospel to you. This song starts off with a practical guide to doing that. He even tells you in the song to go visit livingwaters.com, which is Ray Comfort's ministry. All about evangelism, passing tracks, all that good stuff. So I love that song. Second song, it's a song about his wife. Dope song. Again, like I said, it's a love song. That's good. We need songs like that. I'm not someone who's like, yo, I really want to hear a Christian rapper make a love song, right? But it's a good song. Go check that out. If that's your thing, that's there for you. Track number 3, White Man's Religion. This is one of those controversial songs. Now, this is a song that he had released as a single months back. And he had gotten a lot of views on the video. He had gotten a lot of feedback from it. I believe from our conversations we've had, he said some Hebrew Israelites were hitting him up, and you know how it is debating those people. Yikes. But I think he's putting out a lot of information that in the hip-hop culture and in the current cultural race issues, and, there's a lot of people in this climate that don't want to hear from the church, right? It's like, yo, we've been praying for this long. That's the white man's thing because that hasn't helped us as black people at all. Like, that's a conversation. And I think this song is dispelling a lot of the myths in hip-hop and in culture as a whole that Christianity is just for white people and that it's only used by white people to enslave and do terrible things to black people when they were forced into this country. And he is saying, hey, we've had Christians in Africa way before. Christianity was in Africa before it hit Europe. Some of the greatest apologists and church fathers and people like that were African men. In the Bible, Africa's there a lot. Jesus lived in Africa at one point. Moses was married to a black woman, right? It's a bunch. It's all over the scriptures. And so he does a great job of going into historical context, urging the church to speak on more of these issues, addressing the black cults, these false religions. He kind of got something for everybody in the song. He's hitting you with something. And then after that, it follows with an interlude. Now, he's got 2 or 3 interludes on here. Now, for me, it was a drawback that the interludes were so long. Again, it's only 3 of them. It's a 10-song project, so it's not like there's many songs in a list of 10 and you got 3 interludes. One of the interludes is like 9.5 minutes. That's pretty long. But he gives the gospel in there, essentially. Theology 101, talking about theology. It's 2 minutes, okay. And then he had the other one, White Man's Religion, a conversation. So it's highlighted as a conversation, so that's the idea of that one too. But that one also is like 6 minutes. And again, all of the content in those interludes is great. People need to hear the content of those interludes, so it's good. It works. But I was kind of like, wow, that's long. But either way, great content on those. You don't hear in Christian hip-hop a lot of interludes anymore where they're breaking down any kind of theology or saying something adding on to the song before. I kind of miss those days. That's very much reminiscent of the cross movement. They would do a lot of that stuff, right? And other Christian rappers as well. But knowing that the ambassador, at least, for sure the cross movement was an influence on Just a Martyr, you get where he's getting it from. I miss those days in CHH when guys did things like that. So it's dope to hear someone else doing it. There used to be a lot of these kinds of things. There used to be a lot of sermon clips. You don't hear too much of that anymore. So I appreciated him sort of taking it back to those days. Got a song on here that I'm not really going to go in depth reviewing, but it's titled CHESS. It's an acronym. Chosen, heirs, elected, saved, secure. It's talking about the doctrine of election. If you've never heard of that topic, that don't mean anything to you. If you have heard of the topic, you know how controversial it is. You might be watching this and you hate that doctrine and you hate that world, you hate that view. But the song is dope. Maybe I'm a little bit biased because your boy is on it. You know what I'm saying? I was spitting the best bars on this whole album. You know what I mean? No, I'm just playing. I'm not going to review it because I'm on it. I refuse to do that. But I think it's a dope song in the sense of you don't hear too many trap records with that kind of content. This is definitely a trap beat we're rapping on. And you don't really hear... Yeah, usually that's like a boom bap thing reserved only for Shailin. Whereas we got on a trap beat, we went, and then we also did something that I don't think I hear a lot of anymore in Christian hip hop, which is MCs going back and forth with bars on verses. You know what I mean? It's kind of like you always got, if it's a feature, he's got a 16 he's going to drop. And otherwise, he doesn't interact with the other artists on the song at all. We kind of went back and forth on this one. So I think it's a dope song. Go check that out. I'm not going to say anything really great about my own lyrics, and I'm not going to do that. The Cypher track. The Cypher track was dope because he had 12 MCs on it. That's some Wu-Tang stuff. That's some... You'll hear albums like that. You'll hear songs like that anymore. Dudes just rapping. There's no chorus on it. 12 MCs. That's not done anymore. Again, that's taking it back to an era that we're just not in anymore. But as a guy who enjoys that style and that kind of hip-hop, because, of course, that style of hip-hop does still take place today. It's just not any mainstream. You know, if you're a weird underground fan like me, you still hear things like that. But that's definitely not mainstream, which is another thing that I appreciated about this project in general. Justin did a lot of things on here that I just don't think you see or hear anymore. But he didn't say, well, no one does that anymore, so let me not do it. He said, I'm going to do it anyway. And I think for that reason, this album also stands out different than a lot of other projects that are out right now. We live in a hip-hop culture and context where you got to have the skill of copying people. That's you got to have that gift. If you can't copy well, you suck, right? That's how it is now, right? But he is a guy who says, nope, I'm going to stand out. I'll do something different. He even making a project like this that has so many styles. All you'll hear nowadays, usually, especially in CHH, that's the context of most of my videos and the conversation. In CHH especially, it's almost always trap, the whole thing. Drowning your vocals in auto-tune, mumbling stuff, barely mentioning Jesus. That's the new Christian hip-hop we're in right now, and this man does not do that. He gives you explicitly Christian music. He does have some auto-tune on here. He does have trap beats on here, but he also has so many other things. This is a project that stands against the current trends and the waves, is how they saying it, right? It's dope, and it's dope for that reason. If you want something different, this is the project for you. And it's not different like, oh, this is whack. It's different like this is quality, but it doesn't sound like anything else. And I think for that reason, it has even more appeal, despite as well as all the other things I've been saying about this album. On the production side of things, I'm pretty sure Justin alone produced this entire project, which speaks to even more of his artistic ability and his skill. Not just as an MC who was able to communicate doctrine and theological truths, as a lyricist and all those kinds of things, but the fact that he produced it as well tells you he has a great ear for music. I did a review of his wife's project, his wife being Aisha Marie. I reviewed her project and just talked very highly about her musical abilities. He also has those. This dude plays like mad instruments. I don't even know all of the instruments. I just know he has a musical background in the church as well. Grew up playing instruments, all of that. So that all plays a role. I know sort of the behind the scenes as far as his studio time and all the people he was trying to get involved and different musicians and instrumentation. So there's a lot of that as well on this project. So it has many, many things on it that I think any listener of music could appreciate, but especially a listener of hip-hop. He's able to blend all of these different instruments really well to create a project that, again, as I said before, stands out against the current wave of what Christian hip-hop and even hip-hop right now sounds like. And I think that gives it even more strength as a project. Shout out to my homie. He kept this very much Christ-centered. Again, unfortunately, not something you hear much in Christian hip-hop, but he kept it that way. I think all of the features killed it. This is a dope project. I am excited. I hope that actually this influences other Christian MCs to try to do different kinds of things. It can get really boring real quick if you're hearing constant albums that all sound exactly the same. So, and yeah, the idea that Jesus is exalted on this. It sounds like Christian rap. A lot of people claiming that title, and they're not. It doesn't live up to it. It's Christian rap, but you barely rapping about Christ. This man does not do that. This man is a Christian rapper who raps about Christ. It's explicit. It's there. We need more of that. So I recommend this album highly. Go check it out. Shout out to the homie, Justin Martyr. So much more to say. So little time. If you enjoyed this video, like, share, subscribe to the channel. And as always, until next time, go listen to Christian hip-hop.